And in Tampa, flights have returned from the Middle East carrying almost 1,500 Jewish Americans who were on a birthright trip to Israel. Those Americans fled to Cyprus to board a cruise ship to safety. And happening this hour, President Trump is expected to receive his intelligence briefing as tensions between Israel and Iran continue to escalate. That briefing likely includes the overnight Iranian missile strike on a major hospital in southern Israel. It left dozens injured and a trail of significant damage. Iranian officials say the primary target of the attack was an intelligence site, not a health facility. Still, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to increase the intensity of attacks in Iran. His defense prime minister added, quote, Iran's supreme leader can't continue to exist. Israel carried out its own attack last night, targeting a key Iranian nuclear site. Officials say the missile struck a partially built heavy water nuclear reactor. The military specifically targeted the core seal. Now, the conflict has entered its seventh day, leaving world leaders on edge. Chinese President Xi Jinping called for an immediate truce between Israel and Iran during a phone call with Russian leader Vladimir Putin earlier today. Xi seemingly referred to the U.S. during that call, saying, quote, the international community, especially major powers that have a special influence on the parties to the conflict, should make efforts to promote the cooling of the situation, not the opposite. Meanwhile, President Trump continues to leave the door open for U.S. involvement. Listen.
I have ideas as to what to do, but I haven't made a final. I like to make the final decision 1 second before it's due, because things change. I mean, especially with war, things change with war. It can go from one extreme to the other. War is very bad. There was no reason for this to be a war. Look, we talk, and I'd like to see everything done. I would have preferred having just an agreement, a strong agreement, verifiable agreement. But it was such a shame. They were so close. Iran was very close to signing what would have been a very good agreement for them. And maybe that could still happen, I guess. They do want to come and see us. They want to see me in the White House. That's a big statement. But it's very late.
Our team has all angles of the story. CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman stands by with more on how the White House is responding. But first, we want to bring in CBS News international reporter Haley Ott. And Haley, good to see you today. Can you walk us through the exchange of strikes overnight? And does this seem like an escalation between the two sides?
Good morning. Yes, as you said, Israel hit that heavy water facility in Iran, and Iran has fired a number of missiles and drones at Israel, including that missile that hit the hospital in the south of the country. That area's most important major hospital. You ask if this is an escalation. A number of the Israelis that I've spoken to today say that that strike has a different emotional resonance. And we've heard similar messaging from Israeli leaders, including from the defense minister here right after the attack, who immediately blamed Iran's leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and said, to directly quote, the military has been instructed and knows that in order to achieve all its goals, this man absolutely should not continue to exist.
And Haley, we understand that several people are now trying to leave Israel and also surrounding countries. Can you tell us what you're seeing on the ground out there?
Yeah, I actually arrived here in Israel today. It took me 3 days to get here because of all of the disruption to travel in the region, and that's just outside of the country. I crossed in over land through the border with Jordan and ran into a number of people from all different countries, but a number of Americans as well who were going in the other direction, trying to leave. I asked them what their experience has been like, and many of them expressed confusion about what they were supposed to do. When these strikes began, they were really sort of scared, and they didn't know who to reach out to, who to ask for help. At a certain point, a couple of them said that they actually got in touch with tourist companies, different tour companies, and it was them who advised them of this possibility of leaving through Jordan. We have heard that from the U.S. Embassy that there is potentially a plan in the works to help Americans leave the country, whether that's by air or sea, but it's not clear at this point exactly what that plan is or when it will come into place.
Okay, we shall wait and see when that plan, if any, is finalized. Haley Ott, thank you so much for your time today.